That's awesome. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you and good night. Killing Joke, welcome.
Hey, great to be here.
Yeah. Jazz Coleman and Geordie. Just call you Geordie. It's no, there's nothing happening.
Just because he's a Geordie.
It's you.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Freak Zone. And I was saying earlier on as well, that should be on the Rock Show as well, because that's just a cracking. I was the opening track of their new album. The Death and Resurrection Show was the name of the track. What's the name of the album?
Killing Joke.
Killing Joke.
Yes,
let's start again. New century. Let's start again.
Okay.
Well, Peter Gabriel did 3 albums called Peter Gabriel, didn't he?
Yep.
So a lot we figured we could get away with it.
And they're all strictly correct, I suppose. Yeah. You can't no argument with that. You've had a most extraordinary life.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just Jazz. Geordie, obviously, you haven't had an extraordinary life at all, you know.
Absolutely not.
but the bio here talking that refers, quite a bit to what you've been up to, and to say varied.
Varied.
Very much an understatement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've done my own opera at the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden, and I guess the Queen was my client then. And I work and conduct for lots of orchestras, and 2 albums with Nigel Kennedy, even the Sarah Brightman album. And then from that to Killing Joke's a long way, you'll agree.
Up or down?
I can't answer that.
At least he introduced me to a new drinking buddy, Nigel.
Oh, Nigel Kennedy, he's a laugh there. He's a good lad. He's a great Killing Joke fan and one of our drinking friends.
Has he got empty boots?
He can drink us under the table.
He's always the last one at the table. Wherever you turn up, you'll make sure he's the last. Gentleman, absolute gentleman.
And then, with a hangover, he practices his violin in the morning. Yeah, so, I mean, it has been varied. And what else? I changed the national anthem for New Zealand. It has to be sung in Maori now. And, yeah, it's been a colourful, extraordinary life.
How did you... what's your background when you ended up going from the rock music world into the classical music world, because it is very, very rare that takes place? Yeah,
well, the truth of the matter is before Killing Joke, I mean, I was studying classical music since I was about 6.
Right.
And sort of was set up to have sort of a relatively successful career as a virtuoso, but it didn't work out that way. I dropped acid and
discovered women
and smashed my parents' house up, and it all went wrong. I became a punk, and then Killing Joke started. I mean, I was in Killing Joke really when I was 17.
Right.
Yeah.
What instrument were you supposed to be a virtuoso on?
Well, violin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm amazed you picked 999 and Emergency as one of your tracks later on.
Yeah.
Because I'd have thought violin you might have picked Bethnal. Did you know the guy in Bethnal?
In?
A band called Bethnal.
No.
Did you know?
Is he a violin player? Is he?
Yeah, it was a punk violin band.
It's starting to
I never heard them. Could they play in tune?
Strangely enough, yes. Although I was always so hammered when I saw them in the marquee, But they did a cracking version of Barbara O'Reilly, with a punk version with. I mean, he had a really great curly lead came off his violin. Big long curly guitar lead came off.
It's funny because I could never sort of improvise with violin. I had to write everything out by hand, basically, and so I always associated the violin with sort of restriction when I got into rock music, which is sort of totally liberating thing for me.
Do you still play it now?
No, because I work with the best violinists in the world now, and it's very depressing to hear myself.
Ah. You ever had him on any of the albums? Ever been tempted?
Oh, that's a real sore point. Sorry, Nigel. Oh, you really picked the wrong thing to say. Like he wants to play on this one, and something went wrong with the timing, etc. like that, and we had a big argument on the phone. I'm not playing any more of your concertos. He was going on the phone. Nigel, forgive me. And so we're kissing and making up at the moment. God, you hit the raw point there, didn't you?
It's fixable.
Yeah.
It's fixable.
When you say your concertos, he was talking about classical.
Yeah, my classical concerto. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've never had him on the actual album, on the Killing Joke album.
We had one track specifically in mind, and I think that track is only probably going to end up on a single and maybe the Japanese version.
So it wouldn't matter anyway. But it was a lose-lose situation, Nigel. You can't explain to him, you see. But there you go. Yeah, it's like a schizoid existence.
Okay. Well, it's in in furtherance of the schizoid existence, first track you picked is Public Image Limited.
Yeah, I have amazing associations with this, because I think this is really where, John Lydon really started experimenting and got out of the sort of Pistols mould. And, of course, he was, like, very instrumental in our career. He sort of, before we were anything, he was singing our praises, because he did some tapes of us, and in fact Lydon singing anyone's praises is remarkable in itself. Our first London show was sold out because he kind of endorsed us, I suppose.
Oh.
So I've got really good associations with that time.
What's your take on Lydon? Because since he's been sort of revised since his career with Public Image Limited, people have looked back and sort of go, oh, well, actually, it was probably rather clever. Whereas I think after the Sex Pistols, when he left the Sex Pistols, people looked at the Sex Pistols and went, yeah, but actually it was all Malcolm McLaren and they were just a load of knobs, actually, really.
Well, actually, I think he was probably the one with brains in the band.
You try telling Steve Jones that.
Well, no, but of course the truth is that, you know, the bass player was the
fabulous thing about the Pistols, and I kind of rediscovered it. I went to see Edwyn Collins in Detroit.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of concerts in Detroit, more than I ever saw in England. Met up with Cookie, drumming out of the Pistols, having a right chat, and he ended up like, he wasn't a punk rocker. He learnt drums playing to Motown. He's a soul boy. That's why the stuff grooves.
Yeah, well, Steve Jones is obviously a rock guitarist. You know,
yeah, but going back to that McLaren thing, I think Lydon was the guy who prized the whole thing out of McLaren's hands, and at least he had a brain. He was thinking of himself, and I credit him with the sincerity of the punk movement. Myself, yeah. I think McLaren's an absolute creep from hell.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think he's the enemy of a musician.
We'll discuss this further after.
Malcolm, you've got Tourette syndrome. Go and get it checked out, mate.
How appropriate that we should be playing Public Image Limited. Right, that's it. And got Jazz Coleman and Geordie from Killing Joke in the studio with me. Way. Right, Public Image Limited. We were talking about the size of that particular recording, as in its sonic size, and how things have changed.
Yeah, they have changed now. I think we can get a bigger, fatter sound now. God, listen to that against Killing Joke. It sounds pretty small to me, but wonderful music nevertheless. You know, when you think about, like, I don't really like the Beatles, but what they were recording on basically in their time it was 4 tracks and stuff, and all the group Can, and they were sort of recording 2 tracks a lot of their stuff, you know. So I don't think it really matters. I used to really care about, in the beginning, so what studios we went to, SSL, this and that, and now we don't mind recording on anything really these days. I think if you record it properly, you get a good separation and quite a big sound. Of course, technology now. But we still use real drums. We want to be one of the few bands, along with yourself, that use real drums.
I don't know. I think there's a few kicking around still.
Well, now, because like 10 years ago, probably, drummers were out of a job, really, weren't they? With sort of groups like the Orb and stuff, you know.
Yeah, people thought they were. Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
It's like guitarists were out of jobs, and everybody was gonna, you know, buy record decks and scratch forever.
Oh no, depressing state of affairs. I mean, we say like basically when you pull the plug out of a wall, you can see who's who when it comes to musicianship and everything else, right? And I think it's great. It's a great trend to see, like, rock music taking over from pop music again.
It's kind of inevitable. I mean, it goes in waves.
It does,
I mean, it cycles. I mean, everybody says it's cliche, but it's true. You know,
it is.
And you
kind of every 7 years, funnily enough. Isn't
is it every 7 years?
I reckon it is.
I haven't been counting. I was like, yeah.
7th wave, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what? I forgot what I was going to bloody say now. The 7th wave has got me going there. I'm thinking about that. Conspiracy theories and things like that. Yeah, let's talk about conspiracy theories.
Why not?
Yeah, there you go. There's a few on the back. I haven't got the lyrics, but I'm reading the titles and I'm guessing.
Well, I'm looking at the papers today, and I was quite delighted actually. Here it says in the Independent, expose Blair, Iraq and the Great Deception. You got Robin Cook and Claire Short basically, and I think we all knew in our hearts it was a load of nonsense. We've all been cheated. I think I mean, here we go. Conspiracy theories. There you go. I mean, weapons of mass destruction. Did
you seriously think that it wasn't going to happen? Like
the war, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it was going to happen.
Of course it was going to happen.
But the sad thing is like you realise that Saddam Hussein had been psychologically profiled 30 bloody years ago as perfect monster. He's just the same card as Hitler. Let's get him in there.
You've got all the pictures of Dick Cheney
come back
shaking
20
hands
years
with him.
later and reap the rewards. Listen, of course.
Do you reckon they're that clever?
I do.
I'm not sure.
Listen, if I thought about it, you guarantee that one of those buggers will.
And the fact is, it's all come out. It's come out about the Bush family's involvement with the Bin Laden family, with the Carlyle group. I mean, it gets sicker and weirder. I think there's a lot to be said for conspiracy theories. I think a lot of them are absolute nonsense. But I think it's possible that 9/11 was staged.
Wow. Okay. Go on.
Yeah, I do. I think that. I think it was just too damn convenient. It gives me the creeps, the whole thing. And I wouldn't mind if Blair and Bush had just said from the beginning, actually, it's about the resource wars, and we're going for the oil, because if we don't, the Russians or the Chinese will go for it. If they said that, I think it would have been easier on Blair. I look forward to Mr. Blair being in the International Criminal Court, personally. I think he's a criminal. I think he should share a cell with Bush, his father, and Kissinger.
What about the
He could do an insanity plea. Bring the wife as a character reference.
You live down in Polynesia, well, in New Zealand at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And New Zealand, of course, has an enviable position, really.
That's right. I mean, our Prime Minister's got more balls than the rest of them. Huh? I mean, that's right, Helen Clark.
Yeah, she said that. Thinking about that. I was getting worried there.
And I'm very proud of her. You know, I mean, basically, what really gives me the creeps about the last sort of 18 months or so is that you notice a lot of heads of state in Western governments are really frightened to speak out. They're frightened of America. And I think, I mean, our fathers taught us about the last World War, that we should never kneel down before insolent might. And like, what's really scary about this time is the implications on international law, because now China can quite rightly go into Taiwan, which is, of course, the beginning of World War III if they do. If they get a bad rice harvest.
How do you feel about the French in all this then?
Well, they're a dubious lot, really. Because
I mean, I just don't believe that there is anybody on this earth who is a politician in a position of power who's not in some way out for their own self-interest or the self-interest of their mob that they happen to be representing.
I think you're right.
French are a case in point.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, in the end, the French and the Germans, they spoke for a lot of people in terms of their foreign policy. I mean, to speak personally...
What about the Rainbow Warrior that they sank in New Zealand
it's disgraceful,
Harbour?
Isn't it? I know.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it's come out
But they got away with that, didn't they?
They did, and they were sharing all the information from Mururoa Atoll with the Americans and the British. Absolutely.
You know,
it's come out since then.
It all goes around the houses, doesn't it?
It's disgusting. I mean, really, I wouldn't like to be a politician, to be perfectly frank.
I don't think they'd have you.
They might.
Do you reckon?
Well, I'm a priest. I've been ordained.
Have you really?
Yeah, anyone can get the job now.
Really?
It's right. I can marry him and bury him and baptise him, mate.
How much did that cost you?
No, it didn't cost me anything. It cost me a master's degree, actually.
Right.
Yeah, in theology.
You sold your soul.
Not really, but like...
You mortgaged your soul.
I figured like it's the end of the priesthood when I become one, eh? But I mean, it's better than like guys going around in skirts mucking around with your kids, isn't it?
Well, I thought that's what priest... I always thought that's what a priest was, but never mind.
Well, no, we're changing sort of perceptions on that now.
Okay.
Right?
Which priesthood?
Oh, there's the seminary of MOBC. You know what that is?
No.
My own bloody church.
Ah, fantastic. Excellent. So
no, in New Zealand, we in the Anglican Church of New Zealand, we see like God as female as well as male. It's quite revolutionary. So, you know, there's chance for reform everywhere, really.
Ah, well, you know, yeah, we'll play Adamant, but and then we'll have to talk about the Essenes after. Because they were at it a couple of thousand years ago as well, seeing God as female as well as male. But that got edited out of the Bible.
It did.
Zero X Machine by Adam and the Ants. Do tell.
Oh, yeah, I remember going to this gig, where was it, with the Electric, wasn't it?
Electric Ballroom.
Yeah, when Adam and the Ants were like a band to be reckoned with, and their audience were just unbelievable. I mean, just looking at the audience, they were sort of like from skinheads to punks, and it was just amazing. It was a really sort of heavy atmosphere in the audience, and like Xerox Machine, me and Youth from Killing Joke, we saw the Xerox tour, and it was really exciting. It's kind of changed our lives in a way, but most people remember Adam and the Ants for sort of their poppier stuff later, which I thought was quite depressing, really. And so, never mind, Adam, cheer up, lad. This is what you used to sound like.
You're going away.
Adamant. I was quite adamant about that. Right, now, Iceland.
It's
You
all-
was there in Iceland in 1982.
We both went there.
You both went there.
It started with a verse that sort of split the band up, and it went like this: "Choose ye an island, fortify it, dung it about with an engineer of war. I will give you a war engine with ye shall smite the people, and none shall stand before you." And like two of us two, felt that it was an island somewhere, and we started off with Iceland, and ended up in New Zealand. Then I changed its national
Hang on a
anthem.
minute, just a minute. Now, where's that quotation from? It's not from the Book of the Law by Alistair Crowley.
You can't talk about stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Is it not? Oh, why not?
You just can't talk about stuff like that.
It's like breaking a mirror while you're looking.
Oh, is it really? Is it? But
Well,
it is a quote from that, though, isn't it?
It is, and it's also we found it in the New Testament in Isaiah, Old Testament Isaiah. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise thereof in the islands at the ends of the earth. He that Kedar doth inherit, they go down to the mountain. Ye shall inherit the earth. We found these references to an island at the ends of the earth everywhere, and it sent us a bit mad, actually, to tell the truth. And we kind of went off there, and our idea of Killing Joke was, I guess, a little bit more grandiose than a simple band.
Jolly good. How long were you in Iceland for?
Oh, until they threw us out, virtually, wasn't it? On and off since from about 80 to 82, really. We were going there on and off, and then I sort of made the plunge and went there. And then people said all sorts of things about it, and they were, of course, right. But it was interesting time. I remember the young Björk and what became her band, basically, the Sugar Cubes. We met and hung out with these people and spurred them on, and we got into all sorts of trouble over there, actually, and then left with the press snapping up our heels.
What really kicked it off?
What sort of trouble?
When we met Bjork, there was a big festival in the cinema of all the local bands, videos, etc. All the press there were having.
That's right, yeah, I
And they
remember that.
suddenly played this band's video, and they're all marching down the road, goose stepping the whole bit.
After we saw the
you
sixth band.
And we objected.
It was basically, it was called Rock Reykjavik, and it was a government-funded film of all the bands in Iceland. And after we got to the sixth band, they were dressed in Nazi uniforms. We decided it was just too much.
We just had a drink of scotch and just looked at each other.
Let's get out of here. And then all the press sort of started taking pictures, and so he battered one of them, and like his camera went down. And the next day, it was like in some thing called Dagblad, or their daily newspaper, and it was like, who do these people think they are? It was a picture of me and Geordie fighting.
Who the hell do they think they are?
Yes. We come from Newcastle, and we're returning the favour. Yeah.
And the other thing about Iceland, which is really funny, they kept going to me like, "Are you a Jew?" And I said, "No, I've got a big nose, but I'm not actually Jewish, but I've got a big nose, and if I was, it doesn't matter anyway."
It sounds like a Monty Python.
Yeah, they go, are you a Jew? Weren't they, Geordie? Everyone, they go, "Are you a Jew?" I was like,
You RK. Are you a Jew?
So, you know, the thing is that we got told about Iceland, that basically, I think it was in about 1777, 52 volcanoes went up and killed all but something like 17 people of the old Danish population. And therefore, and then we started laughing when we heard that, because we realised they were all a bunch of inbreds. After that, there's more incest in the royal family, clubfoot and a big head. There's something sick about it. You know, that lot were waiting for the Nazis to turn up, and they didn't actually appear. No, I don't like. It's not my promised land anymore, Iceland. It's like a horrid rock in the North Pole.
Right.
But we're going back for a gig.
Just to upset him again.
No, it's interesting you should say that, because I go there on a regular basis.
Yeah?
I fly there on a regular basis.
The thing is, there's no trees there.
I always found them quite pleasant, actually.
Yeah, really, no, I don't like him. Like, I take sort of offence that it's insulting, like, my people.
When are you going up there with your gig?
I don't know, sometime in October I think we're doing it, yeah. You should come along.
Jolly good.
Hey, fly us up there.
Yeah, well, if you go on Iceland Express, I might be flying you up there, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because I met Bjork the other night. But,
She's a very nice lady.
Yes.
She don't like me.
Yeah. Does she?
No, not really.
No, it's because you don't like Icelandic people.
Probably not.
No.
We don't need their sales.
I mean, the funny thing was, the first time we went to Iceland, we were walking up the street, and I don't know if you must have read the verse headers, that Lockie, the bad guy, is actually a dark person. So we're walking up the street, and suddenly this 4x4, like Subaru, mounts the curb and just tries to take a swing at him.
Yeah, so I got this all the time, eh? So it wasn't popular there at all.
Right. How long ago was this? 1980?
Oh, the 81, 82, somewhere around there.
20 years ago.
I know.
Yeah. Things might have changed a bit.
I'll tell you what, the only one that really sort of fitted our bill was Omar Stephenson. commercial sort of a conceptual artist who I think got the drop on Damien Hirst like 20 years before he did. He was the real deal.
Did you go to the Penis Museum?
No.
Did you not
I've
know
heard
was
about it.
It's not
Have you
my
heard
cup
about
of tea,
it?
mate.
No. Well, I'm just seeing the word Damien Hirst and Penis Museum just set me
I
off.
must
You know.
listen.
Is that right?
You know.
Is it there? Is it over there? Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a huge bit of mammal penises, and they have some of the biggest in the world because, of course, they've got the whales and all the rest of it. So they've got all these huge, great priapic things sticking out, and makes the plaster casters look like a walk in the park.
We know her, Cynthia Plasticaster, don't we?
Yeah, we'll talk about Cynthia Plasticaster in a second after we've paid ABBA, which is from up that neck of the woods.
This is my favourite. I mean, I love this one. And like I was talking before about like Claire Short and Robin Cook. Like this,
I can't imagine them in ABBA.
Yeah, but this one's for them. It's like a happy ending to the end of Mr. Blair's career.
Okay. Hey, the winner takes it all. ABBA.
Great stuff, eh?
Good stuff, eh? That
Now,
was.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Go on.
I mean, we were talking about conspiracy theories. I mean, do you think it's possible that Princess Diana was assassinated? Yes or no?
Well, of course, it's possible.
And what you think maybe, or what?
I think it's personally. I think it's extremely unlikely and very, very difficult. I think there's loads of ways you could knock somebody off, you know, far more easily and than that in the full glare of publicity. There's so many things that could have gone wrong to have it not work or have it discovered had it been done in that way. I just would have thought that anybody that was going to do it wouldn't have done it in such a daft way. For starters, if she'd been wearing a seatbelt, she'd still have survived.
Well, possibly, but then you've got the backup team and the ambulance to go up, bash her and take her out if she is.
Oh, okay. You know, you know, I honestly don't.
Yeah, well, what got me thinking about it was like, because I work with Sir Lawrence Gardner, of course, it's like pretty high up in, like, he's the noble attaché of the Royal Council of Princes or something like that. And I was interviewing him, and I asked him the same question, and he said yes. Then I interviewed Uri Geller, and he said yes. And that's why I started thinking about it. So everyone I meet, I ask him.
If Uri Geller says yes, it must be true.
Well, Uri, actually, he's got some very strange talents, because I sort of hung out with him, and I thought...
Did he bend you?
I bought my own spoon. I bought my own spoon because I thought he's iffy, right? And like, and I held it there, and he kind of stroked it, and it did go.
Yeah, I was in the green room with him at some telly program that I was on, and he was just leaving. And he went, "Oh, hi." He said, "Would you like me to bend something for you?" And I was like, "What?" "Okay, go on then." So he went round and he got a key, and we're talking like a Yale type key, but like one of these Chubb, really thick, strong security keys. He said, "Oh, I'll have a go with that, right?" There's no way you couldn't have bent this thing with a hammer or anything. It was so hard. And he said, "Oh, we have to stand near the lift, you know, because get something metal." And he rubbed it, and you know, stuff me, it bent, you know, and I was like,
Yeah.
So then he signed it and, and gave it back to me. I was like, oh gosh, you know.
He's got amazing art at his house, so he's got like original Dalis and stuff like that. He's a very interesting man, and he can do some very strange things. He said to me, think of a picture, right? And I thought of it, and he'll draw it and show it to you. And of course, I always think of a dick or something like that, see whether he's really on the job, right? And he draws it and showed it to me. Yeah. So, no, I think he's really got something there. Interesting man, but an interesting situation. But I was thinking about the Queen.
Yes, well,
Now, do you like the Queen or not? Is that yes or no? Right?
Yes. Do I like the Queen?
Do you think she's a nice person? Do you think she's generous?
I've got no idea. I think she's probably... As a person, I've got to say, I'm generally in favour of the monarchy.
See, I'd like to see them all beheaded personally.
Yeah, you see, I'm generally a monarchist.
I'd say like keep the artwork right and get rid of them.
I can see useful things about monarchs and people like that, but because they're not elected.
What you mean on the constitutional side of things?
Yes, because
that
they're
didn't
not
really
elected.
come in. It wasn't very useful before the Iraqi freedom game, was it?
Well,
I mean, we were hoping that the Queen would step in and say, "I've got to sign off on you guys going to war," and like my law lords say, this is a bit dodgy.
Yes, but then you know, you'd all complain that she was being anti-democratic, and of course that's the whole thing, is that the Constitution is based upon all three things, but the Queen is always there as the ultimate backstop.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation because, like, guess in terms of New Zealand, I'm very pro the Queen, because you see, like the Waitangi Treaty, which the Māori people have, is with the Crown. Of course, over there they all become Republicans, so so it basically becomes null and void. The treaty that the Maori people have is with the Crown, so I'm sort of pro the Crown in New Zealand.
Right, so it has some useful function every now and again.
That's right.
Yeah, but do you see, it's the concept of having a bunch of people who actually have a duty to do certain things, only because they happen to be born to have a duty to do
They're
it.
German. They're all German. The only one with blue blood was Diana.
Blue blood.
Yeah.
That's the kind.
And boys.
I'm blue blood. I'm surprised at you espousing such a racist concept.
No, you know about bloodline of the Holy Grail.
Yeah. Okay.
We were talking about it earlier.
Well, I'm afraid, but the bloodline of the Holy Grail, I'm afraid. Whilst it was an interesting conspiracy theory, and I got to the end of the book, and I thought, well, you know what? Jesus may actually have bonked this bird. They may actually have had a son. They may actually have followed this bloodline, all these conspiracy theorists, all the way down to the present day. So somewhere, maybe living in Neasden in a grotty flat, is the successor to Jesus Christ. And you know what? I do not give a stuff. So what?
Yeah, but it's a more colourful story than the other one.
Which other one?
The one in the New Testament.
Oh, yeah. God save the Queen,
God save the
anyway,
Queen.
absolutely. I said, hey, look, I swore an oath years ago, and I still stick by it. Right, no future for the monarchy, Mr. Lydon says, but future for Killing Joke.
Yeah, you know, the practical side of it is we're doing some gigs. I think we're doing the V2 festival in August, but then we're sort of preparing for kicking off on a world tour. But it's starting out in the UK and then Europe, and Europe's quite, as you know, it's like you do from Moscow to Portugal these days, and then States after that, usual thing. They love me there, and then back home to New Zealand, some fishing with Geordie, and then we'll probably do the big day out, and then off around South America and Japan and that sort of thing. So it's about 150 gigs ahead of us, yeah.
Oh, no. Excellent.
So it'll be exciting, yeah.
Right. And how's the album? The album comes out obviously fairly shortly. A big push from the record label.
Well, we've never had a vibe like this ever before. I mean, I know you have, but we haven't.
Yeah. No. It's a great sounding record. It really is.
It's to be honest, it's the first time I've liked every track on a Killing Joke record ever. So, and like most bands, really, they make their definitive work in their first, second, or maybe third album. And like, well, we haven't peaked too soon. I think this is our strongest work and our definitive work.
I actually go along with that. I'd go with that. This is a great sounding record. I was really, really shocked. You know, I put it on. Like, blimey, I really like this. I mean, I really like this, you know.
And it was great working with Dave Grohl and, you know, the whole thing that we had the tension with Nirvana, and that was all kind of resolved in this album. So it's quite a nice beginning, I'll say.
Superb. Well, you know, I've got to whiz off and go into the third hour of the show, but
now
thanks
you
for coming
promised
in.
to fly me and the boys somewhere.
Oh yeah, well we'll have to fly you up to Iceland one of these days when you go up there. Just you know. But in the meantime, I hope this next track does not happen. The next time you happen to be anywhere on an aeroplane. This is 999 Emergency, cracking track. Back in the day, eh?